Hi, Rome. I'm Ariana with Fresh Pair of Eyes. Nice to talk to you again. I talked to you a couple years ago for With Love, so it's great to speak to you again.
I do. I remember that.
Oh, awesome. So, how did you want to portray Frank? We've seen Denzel Washington play an older version of him, but how did you want his portrayal? Because he's fresh off the bus in Harlem in this time period.
Yeah. I think it was important for me to establish that I'm not stepping in being Frank Lucas that people know him to be, but just a young man in a new area, in a new, environment, just leaving his home, going through very traumatic and difficult situations that drove him away, uh, and starting having that be the starting point, and then building from there. And then we see pretty quickly once he's off the bus, things happen relatively fast. And so we establish the kind of man we're going to be seeing throughout the season.
Yes. Is Frank fearless or just arrogant? Because some of his decisions are just wild.
Yeah, they are. Uh, I think we see the progression of how he's calculated throughout the season. It grows. He learns how to be smarter in making his decisions, but he makes wrong decisions along the way that almost get him killed a lot of times. But I think to say he's fearless would intend that he was intentional, and I don't know if he's intentional is in the aspect of when he decides to do something, he does it. But I don't being fearless is understanding like the consequences, and I don't think that he understands those things. He kind of just blissfully has a level of ignorance that somehow helps him in a way.
Yes. So would you say that Frank actually has any plans at all?
Yeah, I think he it's interesting. He finds himself in moments where he realizes things that he wants. You know, maybe when he sees Bumpy with things that he wants. He sees some of the mob families and how they're navigating and the money they're making. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I think I'd like to have that too. Well, I think I could do that. Well, I mean, I think he sees that and says like, why not me?
What does Frank think of Bumpy? Because sometimes it seems that he looks up to him. Sometimes it's a bit of jealousy. Sometimes it's just like a mixed bag. What do you think Frank thinks of Bumpy?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a lot of those things. I think he's a little envious as well because it's just like he's where he is now, and Frank sees him and says, "I can get there too," but he wants to skip steps and he just wants to jump the line. And I think that Bumpy, through his actions and also verbally, just teaching him how to play the game. Like if you want to get what you want here, this is how you have to do it. And so he has to practice a level of patience and um, understanding in order to get there.
Yeah. Frank is also from the South and also from the South in the 60s, and he does not want to work from a white person at all. How does that play into the structure of New York 60s and the five families and how they are structured and how New York is at this point in time? And how does Frank navigate that?
Yes, because he obviously is very opinionated, rightfully so. I mean, through his experience, the only people that have ever harmed him beyond his own people have been white people. And so he's never seen a white person actually be on his side ever. And so in his mind, there's no reality where he'd ever actually work with or for uh, a white person. And so, yeah, throughout the season, you see opportunities where he's maybe been afforded chances to be in conjunction with certain mob families. And he's like, he'd rather be broke, he'd rather have nothing. He'd rather get it on his own. You just got to respect that man who actually standing on something, and has values, even if they are kind of, like his.
I get it. Well, it was great to talk to you again. I can't wait to talk to you about this and future projects. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good talking to you again.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.